Everyone, welcome to another On the Road to Percona Live. Today I'm here with speaker and longtime open source contributor, David Murphy. How are you today, David?
I'm doing good.
Great. So you've got actually two talks at Percona Live, and both of them are super interesting, but they're kind of opposites. One is really more focused on the evolution of a database administrator's journey into something new. It's a new role. Whereas the other one is more about the operational sides of, managing large scale systems and large environments using Terraform. So I was wondering, maybe you could give us a little bit of a preview of each of those talks.
Yeah, so I think it's important to understand that they sound drastically different, but one, which is the Terraform and how to build on AWS talk, is all about how you structure stuff so that your team can pivot, so it can be done. And so they kind of fit together, because if you try to just throw the team at, hey, DBA, you're now responsible for all this infrastructure as well, and you have to figure out network stacks and security, it's going to overload people. But I'm hoping that this talk is going to help people start thinking about things in the right way, where I'll be helping them think about, how do you plan your network or security groups? How am I going to get access to my database? When should I use an EC2 instance versus an RDS instance? All those kinds of decisions to make, because obviously you're going to have lots of talks about Aurora and RDS at Percona Live, but I'm also going to be speaking to, well, when shouldn't you use those technologies? When are they not a good fit? And this, I've given similar talks in the Mongo space in the past around, when is Atlas a good idea versus DocumentDB versus Percona server? So that talk's kind of the same kind of thing on how do you think about it. I'm also going to in that talk, I lift the lid a bit about against what AWS says is a best practice architecture. And I say, as a data-centric person, how would I actually build it differently than an app-centric architect? How would I think about, how do I protect my data landscape first while enabling my application landscape? Because there's very different ways you might go across doing that. And I think it's important people start seeing those different architecture points of view.
Yeah, absolutely. And as you do start to set that up, that's where you kind of lead into this new role, right? The SRE, DBRE.
So yeah, if you're doing DBRE right, we're talking about infrastructure as code, and you're talking about a DBRE team that is building scripts or modules in Terraform or Ansible playbooks or whatnot that automate the things that they would do to build a system. Obviously, Percona is doing a lot of the same type of infrastructure as code with your Percona platform and PMM stuff that y'all have going on. But I'm going to talk some about that stuff. But a lot of what I wanted to talk about on the DBRE SRE one is, how do you start thinking about... One second. How do you start thinking about where you're going to actually want to dive into, what is my new operations responsibilities? What are my ways of working? How do I think about sharing data, whether it be metrics or log data, with other people while also protecting GDPR? And so this talk is a lot about how you think about those things and how you bring the existing DBA team along that journey, because a lot of DBA teams are very black box, don't touch my toys.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And I have done a lot of effort where I'm at now, getting people to start thinking about, well, no, metrics are for everybody. Read-only dashboard access should be for everybody. Data visibility, to look at the real data under the hood, should be protected in different ways. You should have different monitoring solutions or graphing solutions or whatnot, so that people can understand the state of the system. But when you start looking at, does this have a passport number or a credit card number or somebody's birthday, those things should obviously be obfuscated so that some random business person doesn't have that. But the team, the DBRE team, should be focused on how do they facilitate getting that information to people, not how do they stop people from getting that information. Similarly, it's I think one of the topics that I had on that one was rebranding the team as well, because there could be a lot of bad emotions from development or business organizations based on rigidity the DBA team might have had in the past. And it's all about how using this name change also as a way to say, we're doing something new. We heard your complaints. We're trying to fix them. And
it's a fresh start.
Yeah, building that more fresh, positive viewership. But like I have a whole section in my talk that's going to be governing privacy and GDPR concerns while getting access to data. Because you want to try to do that, but at the same time, as DBREs and DBAs and data people, we need to still put our foot down and say, no, you can't have a copy of production PII data in your development environment just because you want it. There needs to be governance that needs to know when it's going to be deleted. We need to be able to track if an audit came through and explain why you had that data at that time and why it was necessary for you to have that data. And so I want to talk to a lot of people about those types of topics so that when they go back to their individual organizations, they're the ones that are trying to say, I want to help you. Here's these concerns. How do we map around them? What's the best path forward so that we're protected from a compliance perspective, but we're also trying to be more helpful simultaneously.
Yeah. No, and I mean those are two really good topics. I think that people can learn about a lot from each, not only how to build that automation and the tooling to enable your DBAs to kind of evolve, but also how to move beyond just that old moniker. So I think we're really going to look forward to these two talks. Looking forward to seeing you in person. It's been a while. So for those who are interested, Percona Live's coming up May 16th, 17th, and 18th in Austin, Texas. We hope to see you there.